Meanwhile, the aging boat that was at the center of an environmental tug of war in the Mid-Coast has now been destroyed.
The Jacob Pike sank in the Meadows River near Harpswell back in January during a storm, and it took months to arrange to have it brought back to the surface and then disposed of. But not all of it, we're learning. Here's News Center Maine's Alex Haskell.
It's the Coast Guard's responsibility to ensure the coastal zone is safe and free from pollution and to address those risks as possible.
That's why this past August, the United States Coast Guard oversaw the effort of raising the Jacob Pike from New Meadows River in Harpswell. The historic sardine carrier sank here in a storm this past winter, leaking oil into the water.
The vessel itself was a pollution hazard.
Lieutenant Pamela Manns with the Coast Guard says once the salvage operation was over, the ship was towed to South Portland. Despite efforts to clean the wreck, its wooden boards, saturated with oil, continued seeping into the surrounding water.
So that was part of the reasons why it had to be destroyed and removed from the water permanently. So there was no way for us to fully clean it.
But artifacts for the Jacob Pike were saved, like this sign. They'll go to the Jacob Pike Organization, a nonprofit led by the great-grandson of the man who the vessel was originally made for.
We'd hope that other outcomes would have been possible. We're pleased that they're willing to work with us and salvage some components of the vessel.
Sumner Rue says he had hoped to preserve this piece of family history, but the Coast Guard says it wasn't theirs to give away, owned by someone else.
It means a lot to have those components, and that gives us something that we can use on a reconstruction that will continue the legacy of the Jacob Pike.
Sharing its rich history dating back to when it launched in 1949 with curious Mainers and those from away, looking for a peek into our state's past. In South Portland, Alex Haskell, News Center, Maine.
Root tells us, by the way, he plans to launch a website soon for his organization to raise money for the Jacob Pike's reconstruction. As for the owner of the Jacob Pike when it sank, the Coast Guard says they owe $500,000 for the removal operation and the dismantlement of that ship.